What's up, guys? In a previous video about 5 months ago, when all the shutdowns first started happening, I did a video where I explained how I was modifying my workout, which was based around 5 days at the gym, how I was modifying that to work for a home workout. So at that point in time, I was doing a 5-day per week workout. It was an upper-lower split, so it was upper body, lower body, upper body, lower body, and then the 5th day was an upper body accessory day. And then I swapped that to a 5-day per week full body workout. Since most gyms around the world are open at this point, I want to do a follow-up video on that, explaining what I've been doing since the gyms have opened back up. And I know that some of you out there, depending on what location you're in, you may still not have access to a gym. There may still be shutdowns where you're at. So when I come to specific machines and things that most people will not have access to at home, I will mention some substitutions that you can do. So if you are someone who's working out from home, you can still watch this video and get some value out of it. And then in that previous video, I mentioned that this workout that I was doing prior to the quarantine, that was the fastest results that I've ever gotten outside of those beginner gains, when you first start working out. And in the course of just a few months, I had seen actual visible results. And that's something that you typically don't see when you're an advanced lifter. Normally it takes a long time to be able to see visible results. So the fact that I was able to see results off of this in just a few months, I was very happy with that. In fact, I will throw up a picture from me in October 2019 and a picture of me in February 2020. So just in about 4.5 months, there was a very, very noticeable difference in muscle size and strength in that 4.5-ish month period. So I wanted to go back and do something similar to that. The one note that I will mention here is that I am still mostly working out from home, even though the gyms have opened back up here, simply because I have found that it is more convenient to be able to work out from home. I'll talk more about that in the previous video, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that. But basically, my parents and I combined our equipment, and going into this workout, what you should know is the equipment that I personally have available for a home workout is going to be a barbell, rack, bench, dumbbells, a low cable, a high cable, and a step-up box. So I'm working out from home 4 days per week, and then I'm working out from the gym 1 day per week. We'll get more into that in a second. So let's go ahead and hop right into the workout program. But before we get into the video, hi, my name is Ryan Treadaway, founder of TreadawayTraining.com, where we turn skinny guys into jacked men. If you want more information on body transforming training and nutrition topics every Sunday, consider subscribing. Diving straight in, on the left here we have the pre-quarantine program, which is the one I was talking about a minute ago, so the one that I was so happy with and getting those great results off of. And then on the right here we have the post-quarantine program, which is basically this program but with some modifications to where I could do most of the workouts at home. So it's still going to be upper body, lower body, upper body, lower body, and then that upper body accessory day tacked on to the end. And then I have a legend right here to kind of help show you what these things are. So we have our main push exercises are blue, our main pull exercises are red, our main leg exercises are yellow, and then the accessory exercises are green. And so the reason why I have them separated like that is these are your main exercises, your primary exercises. So the more bang for your buck exercises, so stuff like your bench press, your deadlift, your overhead press, your rows, your squats, all of that kind of thing. So your big, heavy compound exercises where you're moving multiple muscle groups at once and all that kind of thing. So then the accessories are the smaller exercises where you're working fewer muscle groups, kind of the isolation stuff, things like that. And then you'll notice that there are gaps between some of these exercises, and then some of them are listed together. And that is simply to show that this is a superset, and then a gap, and then this is a circuit. So I'm just pairing those together to show you where the supersets and circuit goes. So with this bench press, bench press top set and bench press, that is essentially the same thing. The top set is just that first set where I've been incorporating a heavy single to start with before getting into my higher rep work, and then a gap and then this superset, and then a gap, and then this circuit. So that's kind of how that works. So looking at how we incorporated this into the home workout, a lot of this was able to just come straight over from here to here, since I do have the barbell, the dumbbells, bench, rack, high cable, low cable, and that step up box. So a lot of this stuff was able to come straight over. So bench press, that came straight over. I do not have a chest supported row machine, so I actually brought that over to day 3 as a pronated grip T-bar row. And so basically what that is you set it up as a landmine. If you don't have a landmine, you can just put the barbell in the corner of the room or something like that. And then I took a chain, wrapped around the bar, and then clipped a lat pull handle to it so that I could do a pronated grip rather than having that close T-bar grip. And then I brought that over with the floor press also over to day 3. And the reason why I moved these over to day 3 versus keeping them on day 1 was because previously I was doing day 1, upper body day 1, as a horizontal press, horizontal pull focus. And then I was doing the second upper body day as a vertical push, vertical pull focus. And I was enjoying that at the time, but what I found was when I was doing bench press and floor press back to back, it was making this workout take a long time. So what I ended up just doing was bringing this over to day 3, because the standing barbell overhead press takes me a lot less time than the bench press. And so bringing this over, which takes a little bit longer than these, it kind of helped distribute that time a little bit better. So floor press was able to come over exactly as is. Machine preacher curl, I do not have one of those at home. So what I actually did was easy bar preacher curl. And what I'm doing there is actually just putting my elbows on the back of the bench. So I took the incline bench, inclined it up to about 60 degrees, used kind of the narrow grip on the easy bar, and I'm doing preacher curls that way. And then reverse pec deck, don't have one of those. So what I did was a low incline reverse dumbbell fly. Lateral raise 21s came straight over. And if you're not familiar with what a 21 is, that just means you're doing the bottom half of the range of motion for 7 reps, the top half of the range of motion for 7 reps, and then the full range of motion for 7 reps. That's an intensity technique that you can bring in if you want once you are more of an advanced lifter. And since I do have access to a high pulley, I was able to bring over the overhead tricep extension straight over to day 1 of the new program. And what you could do here is you could easily swap this out for resistance bands. If you have a door anchor and some resistance bands, you could just set the door anchor up at the top of the door frame and do those. Or if you don't want to do those, don't like those, you could do a lying dumbbell extension or a lying easy bar extension. Either of those would be basically the same type of movement. Moving on to the leg days, we'll cover both of these leg days before moving on to upper body day 2. So I actually swapped these around quite a bit. I took deadlifts, moved them to later in the week simply because I like deadlifting on Friday or Saturday. So I wanted to push that later in the week. Squats don't take me nearly as long as deadlifts, so I like doing those earlier in the week because my work week tends to be a little bit front heavy. I'm super slammed earlier in the week and typically have a little bit less work later in the week. So having this shorter workout right here towards the front kind of helps me out schedule wise. And then plus I just absolutely love doing deadlifts. So having those on a Friday or a Saturday just kind of feels nice, kind of a reward for getting to the end of the week kind of thing. And that's something that I would recommend you do with your workouts as well. Rather than looking at your workouts as, oh, I have to do this workout on this day, no matter what, take your workouts and fit them in your schedule where they actually fit. So if you have one workout that tends to run longer than the rest of them, and then you have one day of the week where you tend to have more free time than the rest of the week, then take that longer workout and put it on that day. Or if you have a day of the week where you tend to be busier than the rest of the week, and then you have one workout that tends to be shorter than the rest, take that short workout and put it on that day of the week where you have less free time. So deadlifts went to day 4. Instead of cable kickback, I swapped to Romanian deadlift. And the only reason I did that is because I wanted another glute focused exercise as a secondary exercise to the deadlift. And with cable kickback, since it's an isolateral exercise, you have to do one side, then you have to do the other side. It just takes a little bit longer. So I just swapped this out for Romanian deadlift. Was really the only reason, was just for that time savings, because I'm already in that same area because I just finished doing deadlifts. So I can just pull half that weight off and do the Romanian deadlifts. And it's a bilateral exercise. So you can just do, if you're doing sets of 10, you don't have to do 10 on each side. You just do the 10 and you're done. So this was basically just for time savings, and that was pretty much it. And I swapped out the glute ham raises for leg extensions, and I know those don't target the same muscle groups, but the reason why I did make this swap is because I had more exercises in my program that were focusing on that posterior chain, so the low back, glutes, hamstrings. So I wanted to add in a little bit more quad work in there. So I removed that, and in place of it added some leg extensions so I get a little bit more leg work. This is my only quad isolation exercise in the whole program, so I did want to add one of those in there. And then ab crunch machine that came straight over, lying leg curl, straight leg calf machine for straight leg calf machine. So all of those right there came straight over, and then instead of having 2 supersets, I slapped those together into a circuit to save a little bit of time. And then I actually added seated calf machine because I wasn't getting enough calf work, so I added that exercise in right there, separate from this circuit, since I already have a calf exercise in that circuit. And then looking at the second leg day, squat, straight over a squat, dumbbell lunge, straight over, these 2, straight over, seated calf raise, came over for a barbell seated calf raise, so basically straight over. You could do this with dumbbells or whatever, something heavy that you have to sit in your lap, you can do a seated calf raise with. And then for hip abduction machine, don't have one of those at home, so I brought that over as dumbbell hip abduction. Very simply, just put the dumbbell on the outside of your leg and raise your leg out to the side. So same basic motion as you would do with the machine, just using a dumbbell. Not necessarily as effective as using the machine or using a cable, which I do have access to a cable, but it's just a little bit faster, and my leg days tend to take a long time. So by the time I do all of these hard exercises that take up a lot of my time, when I get down to these accessory exercises, I'm just kind of ready to be done, to be honest. So that's why I added that in there, even though it's not quite as effective. And then taking a look at day 3, I brought over standing barbell overhead press, straight over, weighted pull-ups, straight over. These 2, remember, these went to day 1. So instead of machine incline press, since I don't have any type of machine like that, I brought that over as a dumbbell high incline press. So that's going to be kind of in between a vertical press and a horizontal press. So instead of like your typical incline, which is at a 45-degree-ish angle, this is like a 70-degree angle. So it's almost, but not quite, a military press. And then leverage lat pull, don't have that machine, so just a regular old lat pull with that high pulley. And then if you don't have access to a high cable, you could do pull-ups or assisted pull-ups, or if you don't have a pull-up bar either, you could do dumbbell pullovers. Those actually will work the lats as well. Then low pulley cable fly. I don't have 2 cables quite yet. We are going to be adding a second cable, so we will be able to do these at some point at home. But for now, I brought over a low pulley cable fly as dumbbell fly. So just as a general note here, dumbbell flies are not as effective as a pec deck or as cable flies, simply because when you get a dumbbell to the top of the range of motion when you're doing a fly, your arms are just straight up and down and perfectly in line with gravity, so there's no tension on your chest at that point. Whereas if you're doing a pec deck or a cable fly, the peak of that tension is going to be at the top of the rep. So you're losing tension at the top with a dumbbell fly versus gaining tension at the top with your standard pec deck or cable fly like you would do at the gym. So again, we will be able to do cable flies eventually once we do set up that second cable, but for now I just have those in just so that I can get that fly motion in. And I'm actually considering adding in a second gym day, just so that I can have a little bit more options for upper body accessories, since all 3 of my upper body days are at home. So that is something that I'm considering doing, and we'll kind of update you guys on that in the future. Next is double Bayesian curl. And for those of you who don't know, a Bayesian curl is a cable curl where you're basically standing out in front of the cable. So your arm is behind your torso. It gives a lot of stretch at the bottom end of the range of motion. And at the gym that I work out at, there's a functional trainer with a back pad. So you can actually do this with both arms at the same time. You can just extend that back pad out so you're standing pretty far out in front of the cables. And then both of your arms will be behind you, and you can do both arms at the same time. I love doing that exercise at the gym, but unfortunately I don't have access to that at home. So instead I just do an incline curl, because the basis of the exercise is pretty much the same. So when you think about what I just explained, and then you think about an incline curl, if you take a look at those side by side, your arms are behind you and you get that insane stretch at the bottom. So the principle of the 2 exercises are the same. So I have that in there. Then I have rope push down, straight over, lateral raise, come straight over, hammer curl, come straight over. And one note that I would like to point out is on this incline curl right here, if you don't have an incline bench, you can actually kind of fake an incline. If you just have a sturdy chair or something that you can use, you can just lean back on the back pad and kind of poke your chest out to kind of get that arch in your back. And then that will actually make it to where you have that same angle even though you don't have an incline bench available. So that is something that you can do if you don't have an adjustable bench. And then taking a look at this day 5, this basically came straight over. So plate neck curl, plate neck curl. I did swap out cable neck extension for plate neck extension. I could have done this exact exercise at home because I do have access to a low cable, but I've gotten to where I don't enjoy this one as much. You have to wear that ridiculous head harness that's not necessarily super comfortable. It's another thing to set up, and this workout is my fastest workout of the week. So this is the workout. It's really kind of a floater. It's in here as day 5, but basically I just throw it in on a day of the week where if I'm busy and need to just squeeze a quick workout in, this one just kind of gets thrown in on whatever day that ends up being. So this could be my day 2 workout, my day 3 workout, my day 4 workout, or my day 5 workout. So it just kind of gets thrown in on whichever day I'm busiest. So I want this one to continue being the fastest workout that I have. So swapping this out for this, one less thing to maneuver, being able to superset these very quickly just kind of keeps the time down. So that's something that you can consider as well if you are in a time crunch. And then Smith machine shrug, don't have one of those at home. I do love this exercise, so I wish I could do it, but instead we have cable shrug with that low pulley. These 2 came straight over. Most people aren't familiar with this exercise. This is an exercise that I do love, the incline dumbbell row. Floor lying tricep extensions came straight over here. Then the last exercise was a lateral raise to an RPE of 9. And what that means is you're not going to a specific rep target, but rather you're going to an RPE target, which would be a rate of perceived exertion target. And RPE 9 would be your 1 rep away from failure. So I did swap those out for lateral raise pulses. And lateral raise pulses, that's basically an intensity technique where you're doing partial reps. So you're chopping off the bottom 25% where you're not really getting much out of the lateral raise exercise, and you're also chopping off that top 25% where it's the hardest, so you're able to overload the weight a pretty good bit, and you're just kind of working in that middle 50% the whole time. So you're stopping but right before you get down to the part where it's easy, and then coming up to about 75% up to the top of the range of motion. So you're getting that nice middle range there. You're able to overload it really heavily, and this will burn your delts, I promise. And then the very last exercise, This was not in that last program, but I did want to add in one more bicep exercise, so I added in blood flow restriction incline curls. I did do a video on blood flow restriction in the past, how that works, all that kind of good stuff, the theory behind it. So I will link that up in the cards. I won't talk about that here simply because that would make the video too long, but you can check that out if you are interested. Do definitely go back and watch the original video of this. So back in April when I talked about how to take this workout here on the left and then swap that over to a home program. So that way, if you're one of those individuals who are still stuck at home and are unable to go to the gym, or maybe if you're just kind of getting burnt out on the gym and you want to be able to save some time by working out at home, that video will help you to be able to take your existing gym program and do the same basic concept of the program and swap those exercises over to something that is more home appropriate. So you can definitely go check that one out. And then you can check out that video where last week we talked about the home gym that my parents and I have access to. So you can check that out as well. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you hate it, give it a thumbs down. If you want more content just like this, consider subscribing, or you can check out one of the videos that will be up on the screen. You can also check out the brand new private Facebook group, Skinny to Jack Society. Like I said, brand new group, only about 15 people in there so far. So if you want to chat with me, some of my workout buddies, and some of my clients that have joined the group, you can check that out down in the description below. As always, God bless you and your family, and we'll see you Saturday. Oh, that was my bad, buddy. That was a bad throw. Now that one was your fault.